Hello everybody and welcome to Cause and Effect, a show about Vetes. I would like to welcome you all to our awesome show, and this is the second episode of the second season. And I also would like to welcome my two co-hosts, Adam Esbjörnsson, say hello.
Hello.
And Isak Bjärmark Esbjörnsson, say hello.
Hi.
Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about Toreador Antitribu. It's going to be lots of fun. But before we start off, let me ask you guys, how has your Vetes week been, Isak?
Yeah, it's been more than a week now, but it's been great. We had a tournament in Gothenburg. I managed to get first seed after some very sneaky play. And I've built a deck with Cavalier around Cavalier that I think actually it's going to, or actually did work well. Anyways, it was a free player game, but it worked better than I thought. So it would be great to see if Cavalier could be the saving grace for those that lack fortitude and are big.
Okay, cool. Adam, how's your week been?
It's been good. I was at the same tournament, the Gothenburg tournament, played and managed to get to the finals. So it was a good tournament for me personally, and it was fun being there as well. Also, we had the regular, casual games Wednesday, and some newcomers were able to play with the rest of the group now. So there's like two newcomers who's started playing for real now. So it's really good.
Yeah, cool. We actually had a newcomer as well last Wednesday. Tamina, as you guys know. She came and kicked ass with a Dementation Bleed deck and swept her first table. So, it as it should be. Otherwise, my Vetes week has been awesome. I played this very strange deck with Dabbler and Keystone Kine and Rafael Giovanni. Bleed, get blood, is able to untap, and then do a zombie, which is a really good and bad at the same time. But funny, it's a concept that I'm going to keep on working on.
You do that. But, tell me how it went.
Yes, I will. Okay.
Giovanni without Dominate.
No, they can send with Dominate. The small Dominate. Whatever. Yeah.
I think we lost Anders for a moment.
Yeah.
Anders has connection problems. So this might happen once or twice during the show. We're going to talk about Toreador Antitribu, and I think one of the most pertinent things to talk about with the Toreador Antitribu is how they're so good is because of the Crypt available to the Group 2-3 Toreador Antitribu Crypt.
Yeah, it's far superior to what you could find in, say, 3-4 or 4-5.
Yeah.
Hi.
We started without you. We started talking about
good.
the Crypt.
My internet is a little bit shaky this evening, but we won't let us stop us now. It's been too long since we
started off talking about the superiorness of the Group 2-3 Toreador Antitribus.
Yes, do continue.
And the first one, I brought up Jost Werner here, and he is the best one. He defines the entire Crypt as superior war specs and superior presence, which is for most cases better than Celerity. So Jost Werner and there are a few others that are really good as well.
Why is Jost so good?
Basically, it's a 6 cap where you trade the one of the best basic 6 caps have no special abilities at all, and they have 3 superior in-clan disciplines. But in Jost's case, you've traded 1 superior in-clan for 1 stealth and an inferior animalism. the inferior minimalism is kind of corner case, but like having superior presence, superior auspex, and one permanent stealth, it's very, very strong. He might be the youngest one, I think, with permanent stealth in the entire game. I might be wrong on this, but anyways, very young for that kind of special.
Yeah. And it's also one of the biggest drawbacks when playing the Toreador Antitribu, that you want to bleed a lot, but you don't stealth that often. If you stealth with celerity, it's quite expensive. So it's like counteraction towards that. It's his plus stealth, right?
Yeah. I think it's really tap bleed. One of the biggest defining factors of tap bleed is that you do some tap actions like mind numb or misdirection, and then you go for a lot of pool damage. But with just Werner and plus stealth, you can have a just bleed once every turn, even without using a lot of tap actions. So he puts pressure on your prey in a way that most tap bleeds deck can't.
Okay. Yeah, and
he and Sheila Masserin, they start this mid to low cap Crypt that you usually build with the Toreador Antitribu. And those two vampires have the same superior in-clan disciplines, and they're both 6 caps. So that he's very strong in himself, but if he had worse support, the Crypt and the clan wouldn't be as good. Okay. Because you go for those 2 6 caps with superior in both, and then you have Mercy.
Yeah, Sheila, of course, get the +1 bleed.
Yeah, so they have specials that works toward pressuring your prey, both of them, in different ways, but they both serve that purpose. And then you have Remedial and Mercy, which both have inferior presence and superior auspex for bouncing.
And that's like the key discipline, since bouncing is only available at superior auspex, but you can always bleed at the inferior presence.
Yeah.
So if you want to trade some discipline away for a smaller cap, it's better to have inferior presence like this.
Yeah, and this makes so you can make a very good defensive deck that also is a bleed deck because of these guys.
The classic, or not classic, but the standard, I'd say. The standard slight intercept auspex package that we've talked a lot about. The one on the Kiviv, Isovargus, and the 2 different auspex bounces. It's very easy to build with this Crypt. So you get a slight block package and a lot of forward pressure throughput, partly because the presence is a great throughput discipline, but also because of the clan cards.
Yeah. And
I brought up the 2 presence guys in the Crypt. They don't have superior auspex, but they're still really good.
Crimmy Jade
has superior for 5 cap, so she can be part of a mini gun chain with Enchant Kindred. It's not as efficient in a deck like this, since you like the 6 cap so much, but sometimes you might be able to get 1 Enchant Kindred off the Crimmy Jade, and that's quite nice.
Yeah. If you do play with the Enchant Kindred. Otherwise, Superior Majesty is great. When it comes to tap bleeding, multi-acting and such. The very neat thing with this Crypt is the 2, 3, and 4 caps. Out of them, every one of them, say 1, have at least inferior presence. So you get a very presence-heavy Crypt. It's only Carter that lacks presence. So Nicholas Chang, Lolita, Sabrina, and Remediar, those are the 2, 3, and 4 caps. They all have presence in some way or another. So it's very easy to build a presence-focused deck and have some slight intercept with the auspex. And because of the clan cards, Carter is usually worth including, even without having any of those disciplines.
Yeah. So both of these, Carter and Nicholas Chang, are good for embracing, just simply. It's worth it to have 2 extra minions. If you can get Carter or Nicholas out and do 1 embrace, that's fine, but they don't have disciplines.
And Nicholas Chang have the auspex, so once in a while he can be a chump blocker for a stealth rush or some such.
Okay, so anyway, as we're going to like see in the different decks that we are examining later on, it's usually that this Crypt that it is featured. But do you have like any other alternatives? Are there any like big guys that you should keep an eye out for, or any other good vampires in the Toreador Antitribu that we're not going to see later on in the show?
I think the group 4 vampires, like 3, 4, or 4, 5 that have protein that could possibly be played. And also there's a few that has obfuscate, I think. Because they saw that they play, but I don't know. Yeah.
And you have Klaus Konrecht.
Right, yeah, he's Fortitude.
Yeah. He's a Fortitude, he's an 8-cap Cardinal, so I think he's one of the youngest Cardinals. That's 3 votes and Fortitude, so he's kind of neat. But the synergy we just showed and talked about with this 2-3 weenie to mid-cap deck, Crypt, it's lacked in the Group 4 primarily. So the very good synergy is unfortunately inferior to what you find in Group 2-3. But one vampire that you do see sometimes is Greta Kircher.
Right, yeah.
She would probably be worth mentioning. She gets a reduce ability. She's a 7-cap with inferior, all clan disciplines superior, and she got inferior obfuscate. Might prove some synergy with other clans. I don't know, but you can pay a blood to reduce a bleed by 1. Okay. So.
Yeah, when I play Toreador Antitribu without Embraces, I normally include at least 1 copy of her for Enchant Kindred.
Okay.
But since the 6 caps are so good, including 1 7-cap, is not super strong, but it could be good sometimes. So.
Okay. Yeah, sweet. So, well, I think that's enough about that super Crypt. The disciplines, like the disciplines combination, celerity, auspex, and presence, what do we think about them, Isak?
Come again, sorry, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, the combination of disciplines that's featured in the clan. What do you think about them?
Like the 3 basic clan disciplines, I'm not the biggest fan of the celerity part. Usually because I don't think combat is that strong. And if you want to do combat, it's usually better not to base it around a clan. It's better to base it around, say, 1 discipline and then or some such. But the presence auspex combination is really, really neat. Like this being offensive and defensive at the same time. And that's celerity can be used if you vote. Maybe you can have Scalpel's Tang, it's a very strong card. Resist Earth's Grasp. Obviously not especially good when it comes to sorry for this Crypt, because it lacks superior celerity. Like overall lacks superior celerity. So, but I think this is true for most clans in Vitas, that you only focus on primarily 2 out of the 3 clan disciplines. Okay. And with this Crypt, and it's so heavily played, if you start searching through the tournament winning deck archive on thelasombra.com, you will find that this Crypt, the 2-3 weenie to mid-cap Crypt, is what's played when you play Toreador Antitribu.
I have a hard time imagining which Crypt you would play if you want to include celerity. I think it would be like a really bad deck, simply because of how there's no access to it. It's like, if you want to have a celerity Crypt, you play Toreador Antitribu. It doesn't. There are no vampires like this with the Toreador Antitribu that are good for celerity. I don't think, at least not from memory. And that combined with that these vampires are so strong, Shayla and Joss Werder, there's simply no reason. I have played a combo deck, a celerity guns deck, like a toolbox deck, more or less, with concealed and magnums and blurs and taste. I played a deck like that. It was fine, but it's still just a bad stickman deck.
Okay.
Since you include a slight amount of combat and you bounce some and you bleed some. And,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's actually true. Bad stickman is a good description of a toolboxy.
And if you want to do it heavily combat, I don't think there's enough celerity for that. You can't like rush with this clan.
Oh, okay. So what's like the clan's main weakness then? If the Crypt, the 2T Crypt is the greatest strength of the clan, what's the greatest weakness of them?
I don't know. It's kind of slow, I think, in a way. Since you can only act when you're given the opportunity, with the tap lead, that is. You can't create opportunities for yourself. You have to be playing kind of patiently with a deck like this. And patiently in this context is, of course, waiting possibly one turn at one point, but waiting one turn is huge in Vitus, so you can't just do that. I think that's like the main weakness. You have no stealth, basically. It's just that can do anything, like force a situation. Mind Numb is one of the biggest defenses for the clan, and this card is very circumstantial. So if you get a huge cap vampire to your left or to your right in the start and you don't manage to get a Mind Numb off, that could be a big weakness as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stealth is the biggest weakness for this clan. And it gets kind of obvious when you look at the disciplines. All of them are... Superior celerity can give you resist arts grasp, and inferior celerity can give you alacrity. And that's more or less it. Perfect Paragon...
Virtuoso? 3 blood, 1 stealth? No?
Ow!
I got played. And you have Perfect Paragon, which doesn't work particularly well when you play low to mid cap. So you more or less have to, if you're going to play this in a tournament, make an assessment of the meta. And if the meta is a meta that doesn't block, or just blocks very slightly, this is a very strong deck. Because if you're allowed to, and I'm air quoting, play your own game, that is, do whatever you like, and no one attempts to block you, or DI you, or play Pentex, rush you, etc., etc. If you just play your game with this deck, pretty quickly you get in a situation where you're unstoppable.
Okay.
I'd say.
Yeah. I think on that note we should bring up the first deck.
I have
yes.
Sorry. Yes, it's up now.
Okay, so what are we looking at?
Right, this is a deck that is actually not a tournament-winning deck, but it's...
Finalist deck.
It's a finalist deck, yes. Finalist from the tournament we played recently, me and Isaac. And this just illustrates like what I see as the basic of the clan. This is the framework that you work with, and you can make variations of this, of course, to create other decks, but this is like a standard as it gets with Toreador Antitribu.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, bring us to what's the Crypt is, like basically what we talked about, right?
Yeah, there's no surprises really. Maybe a surprise could be that there's only one Sheila, and not two of her.
Okay.
I am a bit uncertain why there's one Sheila and two Creamy Jade.
I'm presuming this has to do with the Sean Kinrod. Since if you get enough Auspex, superior Auspex, they're kind of the same, since you can always bounce with someone, and Creamy Jade can receive Enchant Kindred from Jost Werner.
That's probably it. Though there are only 3 Enchant Kindred in 62 cards.
Yeah, but 3 and 62 is kind of good odds. I'm not sure. It might be the reasoning. I don't know. I could possibly reason like this. I think at one point you get 1 extra Enchant Kindred, 1 action for 2 pool and 2 trans, which is kind of strong. So if you do that every 4th match, that match will be a bit easier.
Yeah, of course, it's very strong. But yeah, more or less, this is the standard Crypt, I'd say, more or less.
Okay. So Adam, will you bring us over to the key points of the deck then?
Right, yeah. It has a lot of action cards. That's the first thing you see. Like, the list is long. So, this deck is tap bleedy, but with Embraces, and also it includes Archscan, which is an action to gain pool. And to make all these actions happen, you play with Majesty. 5 Majesties. Also, Patronage is like a Freak Drive action. For 1 action, you untap 2 minions. So it's like a multi-acty kind of deck with lots of actions, and you try to trick your... Oh yeah, change of target as well. Change of target works in the same way against Wakes, at least. So, try to do a lot of actions, outplay or outact your prey, and then oust him. Possibly with Anarch Troublemaker or Misdirection, a few bounces, if you're lucky.
Okay. Another notable thing in this deck, and this is probably against Villains and Crypt Acceleration, is 2 sudden reversals in 62 cards. That's kind of a lot, actually. Overall, the Master Package is kind of heavy, 16 cards, 62 cards. And this being a tap lead deck based around Majesty, can be a very high card flow in those kind of decks. So that's kind of surprising, but probably very strong. Being able to snipe a V-lane at a key moment, that could be like an 8 or 9 pool difference, and that's a lot, needless to say.
Yeah. Okay. So, how do you play it, Adam?
I think you kind of you play it fluidly in a way. Like, it's only 3 Enchant Kindred, so you're not gonna you can't rely on playing Enchant Kindred. The only card that you can rely on playing is Embraces. So I think most of the time you're gonna wanna play a Weenie Vampire first and try to get an Embrace as soon as possible. Try to get them off before the too many blockers arrive. And then it's just try to survive, try to create Embraces and bring out as many minions as you can until your prey is in oust range. And if you can, provide steady pressure with Jost, with bleed for 1 and 2. Because as Isaac says, it's a lot of masters, and the card flow could be really heavy. So if you try to force an oust too early, I think your hand will be clogged quite easily. So it's better to be a bit patient and then get the oust when you're reasonably sure that you can get it.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned there are 7 Embraces, so it's a lot of Embrace, and there's a lot of guys overall. So minion superiority is like the name of the game with this deck, right?
Yeah, that's what works really well with the tap lead mechanic or tap leading strategy is you want minion superiority. It's at those moments that tap leading shines. When there aren't enough blockers, they actually take care of the trick actions, like the actions you do to fool your prey, because they need to take care of the trick actions and they need to take care of the actual actions, and then you have some actions left. So you need a very dedicated block deck to be able to deal with that. But the key being, with this card flow, the key to that not being such a big issue is Palagrand. Getting plus bleed to every vampire, so that every vampire had at least 2 bleed, it's a huge difference.
I think possibly Palagrande could constitute half of all the plus bleed that you're playing, or you're putting in your prey for a game. And this is mainly because of...
Hello?
Yes?
Yeah?
We hear you. This is mainly because of what's it called? you're using your plus bleed actions with your like discipline vampires, and they will probably be blocked or bounced, and then your embraces can bleed for 2, and a bleed for 2 is kind of non-threatening. I think we've lost them. Sorry. We're cutting here, and